Welcome to our final lesson. In this lesson, our imaginations will be ignited. We're going to create, draw, and color a real or fictional one-point perspective background for our subject. By the end of this lesson, your portrait will have its own personal narrative. Okay, so now we are at our final stage and we're going to add our background to our image. Now, this is the part where you're using your imagination or you're looking for another reference image maybe of something you can add into the background. You can put this subject wherever you want to put it. You have all this empty space in the background, and now you need to fill it up. Now, what I use to do backgrounds are very simple. I use a black pen. It could be a Sharpie, a Micron, a basic black pen, a straight edge. I use a regular, this is not even a stiff ruler. And to color it in, I use Posca markers. Now, Posca markers are really cool. They resemble acrylic paint. And they have a broad tip, which allows you to fill in a lot of color quickly. Now, if I wasn't coloring this in with Posca markers, I would probably scan it to a computer and then add color to the background that way. And I'll go over the colors I use as I use them and why I'm using them. Now, the backgrounds I create are one-point perspective backgrounds, which means that there's going to be one point on the page that's going to be directing your eye. And let me draw that one point. So first, before I even get to the perspective part of it, I need to figure out where I'm going to put my subject. I've went ahead and decided that I'm going to put this person in a high school. He looks like maybe he could teach high school art or gym or Spanish, whatever. So I'm going to put this person into a hallway in a high school. So what I have to do now is I have to find my perspective. Do I want it to be straight back? Do I want it to be off to the side, off to that side? I'm going to do dead center. Since I already have him off to the left, I'm going to start the background perspective in the back. So I'm going to just draw a very light dot in the background. Very light. Right here. That's my one point that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to use that one point to direct all of my lines. So I know everything I draw has to come towards this line diagonally. So I have to do diagonal this way and diagonal that way. I'm going to try and draw this from memory. Now, you don't have to do that. You can look at a picture. You can print out a picture and draw from it. You could just look at it. Or you could draw from memory. Now, the reason I use a straight edge is because I want straight edges. Now, if straight edges don't matter to you, then you could just put this to the side and not even use it. Because there will be some parts where I won't even use the ruler because it's not important that I use the ruler at those parts. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing out my background. So I have my one point here in the center, and I think I'm going to draw a cascading, not a cascading hallway, but a descending hallway. Let me use my broader point. So I have that point that my hallway is going to, and then I'm going to have another point, not another point, but another line going towards that point. Not exactly to the point, but towards the point, because I want to draw something here. I think I'm going to draw a stairway. So I'm going to draw the stairway. Now, one thing I tell myself with these backgrounds is, let's say I'm making a line and I completely screw up the perspective. I work with it. Maybe it doesn't have to be completely a one-point perspective. Maybe it could be multiple perspectives. But I usually stick with the one-point perspective. So I'm going to try to make this here into a stairwell. And I'm using my straight edge. And then I'm going to not use my straight edge. I'm going to do some lines. And to make it look like a stair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some lines that go down and across like this. And then across again. Up and across, up and across, up and across, up and across, up and across. And then I'm not too concerned about it looking realistic, because that's not my point. That's not the point I'm trying to put across. I just want it to look like this person is somewhere in some place of time. Maybe I'll put a doorway. Where the stairs end. Now, if I want to make something that is standing upright, like the stairs, it's going to go in the same direction as the person. This person standing upright, I'm going to put some lockers here in the corner that are going to be standing upright. I wouldn't draw the locker in this direction, because that would make the lockers look like they're falling flat or lying flat on the floor. So I'm going to draw anything I want straight up to be straight up. Straight up. Now I'm putting an angle on it because I want there to be more than one. Maybe 3. And then I'm going to draw a horizon line. So now it looks like it is a more of a 3-dimensional form. I'm going to add some door handles, maybe those slots that you can peek through and sneak notes in. Maybe I add some more in the center. And notice that I'm not using my ruler for this because they're just very short lines. And I don't care if they're straight or not. So now I have all this empty space here. It looks like the stairs are floating. So I'm gonna try to fill that in with something so it looks grounded. Maybe I'll add a door. I'm not gonna use my ruler for these. Ground everything. Maybe behind I'll add a carpet. And on this side I'll add maybe another set of lockers. And it's gonna go in the same upright direction. And follow that same perspective line, same direction. Everything is going towards that center. We make some lockers. And just like those lines, we're gonna go in the opposite direction. So this way. And this way. Some more handles. Note slots. Maybe I'll put a clock. It's 3 o'clock, dismissal. And I'm gonna try to fill up the space as much as I can, but I don't want it to be too crowded either, or to take away from the subject. Maybe I'll add a little window right here. A banner, maybe. 2 banners. Finish outlining. Maybe another clock. One thing I've learned about working in schools is you can never have too many clocks. This one is gonna be Pacific time. since you have your pen out, maybe you want to add some more details to something that you forgot. Any other detail you want to add, you add it now. Because we're going to move on to adding color with our markers. Now we're going to be using Posca markers, as I stated before. They're broad tipped and they come in multiple colors. This is the basic one. They have ones that come with thinner markers and different shades of colors, but I just have the basic set. Now, usually when I color backgrounds, I try to color them in conjunction with the subject, because I don't want the background to distract the viewer from the subject. I want the background to complement the subject. So what I do for that is that I use the same colors that are in the subject's face or body. So in the background, I'm going to be using greens, oranges, light oranges, maybe some yellow, and the pink. So these are the colors I'm going to use in the background. Maybe other ones as I go. And these colors can all be found in the skin. Let me zoom in. All of these colors can be found already in the skin. So I'm going to use these same colors in the background. Now some might be thinking, well, that's going to make it blend in with the background. You don't want it to blend in. But if you randomize the colors, it actually doesn't blend in. So we're going to try to randomize these colors the best we can. I don't have an order. I'm just going to color as I go. But one tip I do have is you don't want to have the brightest color closest to the skin. You want to have a light color close to the skin tone. So I'll probably use this beige here. And I color in the lighter spaces. Now the Posca works well with the Bristol paper, but you don't want to put on too many layers because it'll start to pull on the paper. So what I suggest is you do one layer, let it dry, and then you can go back on top with the Posca marker again. And that way you can get your colors darker if you need to get them darker without ending up ripping your paper. So I can come back in with another layer of this once this layer dries. And it dries pretty quick too, so that's a good thing. Now I'm marking on top of my pen lines because I can always go back in and draw them back in again. So I'm randomizing the colors. You can go ahead and pick out spots that you want one color. Go ahead and color them in that color. Saves you some time from having to go back to a color. Or you could just go with the flow. And the ink is in these, so you gotta shake them down. Notice how broad the color's coming on. And I'm gonna spend this time just filling in color. Now you can color the whole thing, and you can also leave some spots that are completely white, the paper white. And that's entirely up to you. What I do is I usually color the whole thing, or maybe pick one or two spots that are completely white. Like I'll probably leave the stairs white and maybe a few lockers. Now that this is dry, I can go back in it and make that beige darker. Add some green. I'm gonna add any green yet. see what else. So the colors I use don't necessarily have to be actual colors you'd see these items in. You have the ability to make these whatever you want them to be. And these Posca markers, they color really vibrant, and you can add colors on top of each other. It's real easy, which I love about them. What I'm doing now is I'm just adding some extra color. Now, when I'm really done, what I'm gonna do is, oh, I had a smudge here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go over on top with the Posca marker again. And smudge gone. So my last and final step is I will use my pen again, my black pen, to outline everything. We're gonna make everything pop again. And we're gonna do that with our Sharpie marker. Take your straight edge and go back through and outline. I usually outline the objects behind, and then I go back in and outline the face again and the head shape. You'll notice that your things start popping again. Looking more crisp. If you don't want to use a straight edge, you don't have to. And then I'm going to use my fin and put my fin details back. Like hair. And what I always do is I sign my name somewhere. I usually put my last name and the year it's done. So I put my last name, Duff, and then a year that it's done. Maybe I'll put a month too. November. And if I want, I could add more details. Maybe I want to add something else here or something else over here. And these are all geometric shapes, lines, squares, rectangles, triangles. Nothing complicated. Our portrait is now complete. Thank you so much for embarking on this journey with me. I can't wait to see your results.